Hi, in this session I'll show you how to create a motion chart. So basically a motion chart, what we're going to do is use a motion bubble chart. And the bubble chart takes X, Y, and Z criteria. In our example, our X is our crude birth rate, our Y is the crude death rate, and and the Z is the population size, so that's kind of represented by the bubbles. Now if we click a button here, we can see that as the years progress, we have from 1971 to 2010, the bubbles start moving. And so if we wanted to manually do it, there's a scroll bar here that also takes us through. We just have to press that a couple times. You see the years here decrease, and we see the bubbles move around. So this is kind of a neat and cool feature in Excel where you can get it to do some kind of animation, but Excel is not really good with animation. But there's a little code here that we can use for that. So let's get right into how we create it. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and take this table and copy it over to another cell. Just select these headers, Control Shift to down arrow, Control C to copy, and let's put it over here. And Control V to paste. Now we also need an offset cell. So basically this is the offset number. We're going to start that at 0. And we're going to take a year and start that at 1971. We'll just select this cell here, and we're also going to add this offset cell. So when this offset cell increments or decrements, it will go up and down within the year. So go ahead and press enter. Well, you see what I mean? When I put, maybe I'll put 1, it's going to add it to 1972. So let's go back and put it to 0. What I'm also going to do is take let's see, we'll go ahead and take the first, there's 4 countries that I use in this example. So we'll take the header, and we'll also take the first 4 countries, Control C, and I just want to paste the values in there. So I'll just go ahead and let me go back to my home key, paste values. And we don't really need this because we're going to put a VLOOKUP formula in there. Let's kind of reduce this size here so we can see more of the table. Let's delete that. Let's increase the size of this cell so we can see these things. So we'll go ahead and do format cells, and let's do the word wrap so we can see all the text. Alright, double click that, or double click the bottom part, and so we can see it now. Okay, and let's double click this a little bit so we can maybe not. Let's make it a little bigger. Yeah, that's perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a VLOOKUP formula here, and we are going to use this as a key. So I forgot to mention this earlier. When we're using a VLOOKUP formula, we need a unique value to be our lookup value. So let me just go ahead and do it to explain it. What we're going to do is use the VLOOKUP, and we're going to look up the year. We need to look up the year and also the offset value, the year here, which is going to move with the offset value, and also another unique value. So that's why I put in country code. Having the country here is a little bit long, so I put in country code to make it a little shorter so it becomes a key. So basically we're looking up this key, and what we're going to do here is we're going to combine this value with this value. So what we're going to do is in the lookup value, we're just going to select that cell. We're going to make that an absolute value. Press F4 so the dollar signs are in front of everything, and we're going to combine it with this value. So what we're going to do is just type in the ampersand. The ampersand combines these 2 values. So select that, and since we're going to copy it down, we're just going to lock the column setting. So we'll just put press F4 a couple of times. The 3rd time it will give us a dollar sign in front of this C. So that's going to be our lookup value. And then our lookup table is going to be this portion here. I'll go ahead and select that, Control Shift down arrow, and press F4 to make them absolute references. Now we have the dollar signs in front of everything, and then a comma, and then a column number. So this is going to be, we're going to look up here, this is going to be column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. So the first column here is going to be column 2, and then comma 0, because 0 we want false, an exact match. Go ahead and close parentheses, press enter, and see we have 48. So we'll go ahead and copy that down, and now we've got the values there. So see, for example, now this particular calculation, if we go ahead and select that, press F9. So we go select that, it's choosing these two values, and this is the table, and number 2 is the column, this column. Press escape. So what I want to do is also copy this over. I'm going to just copy this over, and you can see it's the same thing, but for each cell then I'm just going to increase the column. We're going to look at the third column for the crude death rate. That's 1, 2, 3. Press enter, and then go ahead and just copy that down. You'll see that we've got our columns there, and then this column here, we want it to be the fourth column. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Press enter. See 5753. We'll go ahead and click it back in there and use the fill handle and copy it down. So you notice that. So now look, for example, now if I change the offset, add 1 to it, you'll see the values change here. We're looking at 1972 now. It's 1972. Angola is 47, 27, and 5895. See that here, right? So let's go back into and put 0. So now we're going to go ahead and create our bubble chart. Now, bubble chart, once you select the data here, let's go ahead and see it. We'll just select the data here, and we'll insert a bubble chart and see if it picks it up correctly. If it doesn't, we can go ahead and change it. So basically, they call it, there's the three-dimensional one, and there's the plain one. Let's go ahead and select the plain one. So you can see right here, it did not really select the bubble chart that well. Let's kind of reduce the size so we can see what we're doing here. Now, what we want to do is we want to select the data because it didn't really select it correctly for us. So we're going to go ahead and select the data. Let's just remove this. Let's just remove all of this and add it in ourselves. So what we want to do is we're going to click add. Our series name, it's going to be country. Our X value access is going to be the crude birth rate. That's our X value. Our Y value access, go ahead and delete that, will be the crude death rate. That's going to be, and our bubble size is going to be the population size. Okay, go and click OK, and now we see our bubbles here. So one thing about Excel is it uses the, well, let's go back and select that. It uses the x-axis for the horizontal category, and if you notice that it's going to use it for a legend, but we can play around with that a little bit later. What we want to do is probably get some differentiating in terms of the bubbles, and so I'll go ahead and right click for the format data series. I'm going to go in here and select fill and click vary colors by point. So each one's going to be a different color. So this one makes it at least a little bit nicer. You see 48, 47, 44, 48. What I mentioned, the legend. For some reason, Excel uses the X values for a legend, and that really doesn't really help us out too much. And one way we can take care of that is just basically just delete the legend and put labels in. But before we do that, let's go ahead and create our animated motion. So what we need to do is basically go into Developer tab, before we click Insert, let me go and get the code that we need, and this is the code that I got from Sanan. You can just do a search for motion charts in Excel, Sanan, and you'll find his website that kind of shows these steps. So let me just copy that, go back in my prep sheet here, and go under Insert, and let's insert a button. The button we're just going to put a big old button here, and it's button number 1. Oh, it shows button number 1. That's nice. And we'll say new, and under new we'll go ahead and put that code. So that code, it's going to need to reference the offset, and the offset is C1, so I got it there, so that's nice. So it already did it for me. But basically, you need, for this code, depending on the range that you have, for my example, we have from 1971 to 2010, which is 39. So that's why I have 39 here. So whatever you have, you can just replace it with your range. And the offset cell is C1, which is C1 here. So go ahead and close that. It's going to save. And when I click on this button, we should see the years increment and the bubbles move around as it goes from 1971 to 2010. Now this really doesn't help that much when we don't know what they are. So what I like to do is click on the bubbles and add a label. So add a label here, and each one will just label it for the country. So this one, let's start with this one. This one is 0.4324 and 13068. 13068 is Angola. So what we can do here is select that, click that once, and we see all these the label are selected. Click it again, and just that one is selected. So what I'm going to do is press F2, and you'll see that now it's put me up in the formula bar. Press equal sign, and let's select Angola. So it's going to be a cell reference there, and then that will put Angola there. So you can also do this with the other cells. This is 8. This one's 8 here. We kind of hover over, see that's 844254. So that's Cambodia. So let's change that to Cambodia. F2. My cursor's up there. I can put an equal sign, Cambodia, and then let's see, number 5. That would be Nicaragua. F2 equal sign. Select that, and then let's choose number 7. F2 equal sign. That's Bhutan, the happiest place in the world. Alright, so now when I click my button, you can see the countries that are going through the different years, and they're kind of moving along. So in the previous tab, I also had a scroll bar, and you can use a scroll bar, and that scroll bar, we can create that here with the form controls. And we add a scroll bar here, and we can just press the Alt key while we draw the scroll bar, and it would lock it to the cells. Now with the scroll bar, we right click it, and we want to format control, and the current value we have 0, which we can match it with that. Our minimum value, our current value is going to be 0, but our minimum value, we want it to be 0. Our maximum value is going to be 39. From 1971 to 2010 is 39, so we'll select that. And our cell link, we want to link that to our offset right here. So press that cell and click OK. And what happens is now we have a scroll bar that we can keep pressing, and it will change the values. What's also nice to put on here when you have our labels here. We actually don't have our labels here. Let's put our labels there. So we can put our labels here. We go to layout, and we put access label. We'll put our horizontal label, and we want to make that. We want to do F2 equal the crude birth rate. We'll select that. Let's also put in the vertical axis title, and then what we can do is F2, and that would be press equal and then the crude death rate. And maybe we also want to put in a year. Let's put in a year, and so when we're scrolling or we hit the button, we know what year it is. So we just use our text box here and just draw a little text box, and what we're going to do is press F2 again, and let's equal it to the offset year here. That's the one that changes values. Equal and that. Press enter. Let's make this a little bit bigger, maybe 12 size, center it, and maybe make it a little bold. Well, let's not. Or you can give it some color here. So maybe we'll give it that color, and then we'll make it a little bigger. So now, if we press the button, we'll see that as the years go by, our population sizes change a little bit, not too much, but the crude death rate and crude birth rate varies with that. And so with our labels here, we don't really need our legend anymore, so we'll just go ahead and delete that. So that was a lot to go through, but I hope this was instructive and helping you kind of see how you can create your own motion bubble chart in Excel 2007. Hope this helps. Thanks for watching.